Getting ready to do an escape room and you want some tips and tricks? I've got 11 tips and tricks for you to do the best you can in an escape room and get out on time. So, thinking about doing an escape room? Maybe you've never done one before. Maybe you've done a couple and just want to figure out how to do better. Or maybe you're a pro looking for a couple tips and tricks. I've got 11 tips and tricks here for you to help you succeed, to get out, to have fun, to do it the best you can. Some of these are tips from insiders, as well as my own observations. So my first rule, remember that rules are made to be broken. So everything that I give you here will change a little bit based on where you go and what you're doing. Remember that every business, every escape place is different. They have a different flow, a different style, different theming, different look, different technology, etc. Everything's going to be a little bit different. It's one of the things that makes escape rooms and the whole industry so unique is that you're going to have something different at every place. So while these rules and tips and tricks are going to help you generally almost anywhere you go, remember that every single rule is made to be broken depending upon where you are. So if worst comes to worst, ask them. You may find out some tricks that way that are specific to that place. Number 2, the first thing to remember when you go into an escape room is remember that you were looking for codes and combinations and to solve puzzles. Most escape rooms, in fact almost all of them, the idea is to open locks. And you were looking for the combinations to open those locks. There's different ways to get to those combinations. That's your ultimate goal. Solve puzzles, open locks. It isn't to dismantle, break, or force things to work. One of the things that will drive an escape room employee nuts is when they see you yanking hard on a rope or trying to force a lock, or turning furniture upside down, or pulling things apart. You don't need to do that. Don't be destructive. It will drive them nuts and it'll get you kicked out, okay? There's no reason to ever take furniture apart, to force things open, to break locks. Don't do that, okay? Work within it. Remember, your ultimate goal is to solve the puzzles, find the codes, make progress, not dismantle things. Number 3, oftentimes you will have one place that will show you the numbers and letters for a code, and another place that will show you the order. Don't be surprised if you've got to take 2 or even 3 things and put them together to be able to come up with a code. They may be in different places. You may have one thing that will show you 4 different numbers, but then you've got something else that will show you what the symbols are for it in a completely different order, and you've got to put them together and go, oh, this is the numbers, this is the order they go in, and that's how you get the code. Make sure you work them together. Sometimes it'll be really obvious which order they go in, but oftentimes you'll have a couple pieces to put together, or 3, or sometimes even 4. Be open to looking around and not relying on just one thing. Number 4, if you've got a box with 2 or more locks on it, don't start there and don't get stuck there. More than likely that is what we would call an end box, kind of like an end boss in video games. And there's going to be different things that lead to that. That's not going to be your starting point. Look around for other locks and other codes and other puzzles in the room first and solve those, and they will probably lead you back to that other one. That's kind of your goal, is ultimately to get there, but not to start there. That's your finish point. Now again, that's not always the case. Sometimes you will find a code that right away leads right to it. But keep in mind, if there's several locks in a room, you're probably going to be working on all those others rather than that last one first. Just a little hint there. Work the whole room. And that actually leads me to kind of a side one. Work the whole room. Explore the room first. Check out where all the different locks and combos are. Find out where all the puzzles are. Make notes of each of them. And then work on each one individually. Look at everything in there. look at the walls, look at the floors. There's almost never anything in a room by accident. Sometimes it's atmosphere, but if there's a sign or a picture or a note or something, it's got a use. Don't put it aside and walk away from it. When people open up a box and they find a note inside, they go, and forget it. It's there for a reason. Pay attention. Really, everything. Note it all. Which leads me to number 5. Take notes. Write everything down. Because you really want to keep track of everything. We like to set a designated person to be our code and combo carrier. And they'll have a piece of paper and they write down every code we find, where it came from, and then when we use it, they'll scratch it and they'll make a note where we used it. That way we're not trying to repeat the same codes over and over, because you're not going to use a code twice. Almost never. So if you've used a code, you've used it. You're done with it. Make a note on it so you don't try to reuse it and look for the next piece. Don't waste your time trying to use a code 3-4 times. It's a waste of time. Use your note sheet. Keep track of things. It's going to help you. And if you got a person that they just struggle with puzzles, put them on the clipboard with the paper and have them take the notes. Number 6, if you are in a place that has several rooms, work each room. Finish the room. This is generally what we would call the flow. You oftentimes will need to finish all the locks in a room or close to it before you go to the next room. So if you can see a door that's got a lock on it, and you've got several locks in your room, don't go straight to the door. Work those other locks first and the puzzles that go with them, because they'll lead you to that door. It's going to be rare that you're going to open a lock to go into another room and you still have stuff unfinished in your first room. Finish a room, make sure you've got everything, and then go on to the next one. Now, sometimes you may run into a deal where you've got an object that has several different sections, and it will kind of tell you or give you a clue that you're going to have to come back to each one, back and forth. But that's going to be rare. Look around that room and work it before you go somewhere else. And by the way, that's one of the more common rules to break. So that's where the inventory helps. But there will be times that you'll have to go to another room to find the codes that will open up locks in that first room. So just be aware. That's something that can change from place to place. Number 7, ask how many hints you have and then use them. This is probably the thing that will drive people who run escape rooms crazy the most, is when they see groups struggling and they won't ask for a hint. And they struggle even more and they lose time by not asking for hints. If you've got them, use them. Unless you are determined to hit that record for whatever it may be in the least number of hints, if you're not going to hit the record, you've got the hints. Use them. Some places will let you have unlimited hints if you're not going for the record. Others will only let you have so many, but a hint does you no good if you never use it. A general rule of thumb is if you have gone about 5 minutes and you haven't made any progress and you're struggling and you don't know what to do or how to solve something, ask for a hint and use it. Don't ask for a hint and look at it and then ignore it and walk away. If the hint tells you to work on something, go work on it. Use the hints to your advantage to solve and finish the room. It does you no good if you've got all your hints left or most of your hints and you don't finish the room. That's a failure. If you use all your hints, but you finish, then you have succeeded. But kind of following up on that, you try to do the puzzles first. Don't be one of those that walks into a room, doesn't even look at anything, and then says, "Can I get a hint?" Look around and try first. You'll actually have more room, and oftentimes you'll actually succeed faster, because people that immediately ask for hints don't know what the hint's referring to, and it takes them more time to figure it out, and they'll actually lose more time asking for a hint by not looking around than if they looked around and tried to solve on their own first. But use your hints. Number 8, if a certain lock or puzzle has you stuck, walk away from it. Especially if there's more than one. Go work on something else. Look for other things. Don't sit there and stare at that lock and try to put in random codes. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get a code come to you magically by osmosis. Look, you're not going to find the code randomly. There's puzzles in the room to lead you to that code. By sitting there and just insisting on trying random, you're never going to get it. You're wasting time. If you can't open a lock, look around, walk away, try something different, look at a different lock, look at a different puzzle, look at a different code. Maybe you're missing something, but don't just sit there. More people seem to waste time on one lock, especially when it's not a lock you can get to yet. I'm amazed when I have been in rooms how I have seen people just sit on a lock that you can't get to. And there's 3 other puzzles and locks you have to get to first. And they've wasted all that time and energy. And you're part of the group going, we could have used you over here. You would have helped to save us time. Instead, you just do nothing. Don't sit and do nothing. Number 10. The rooms that I have done, letter locks, you'll have different kinds of locks. You've got number locks. You've got directional locks, which those are kind of dying out. And then you have letter locks. The letter locks are almost always words, not gibberish. If you're putting in random letters, at least at the rooms I have done, you're going to have the combo wrong. They use words because it makes sense. And oftentimes, those words will be tied into the theme of the room. Again, this isn't always the case. This is a rule that gets broken a lot. Ask the people at the place you're going. Are your letter locks, are they random letters or are they words? Just as an extra little bit, it'll save you time. Because if you're working in a room that has a space theme and a 5-letter word that is moon, and you're putting ASDF, you're not going to get it. So ask them if they use random letters on the locks or if they're words. Generally, it's going to be words. Find out first. You're going to save so much time. And then you'll also recognize that, hey, we got this code that doesn't make sense. You'll know it's not the right code. Oh, and last, don't forget you're on camera. Most escape rooms have video cameras so they can see what you're doing, where you're at in the room, and help keep track of you so they can give you better hints. They've also got microphones so they can hear everything that you're saying. Be aware you're being watched. Keep it appropriate. Some of the things people do sometimes in escape rooms, they're there to keep you safe, to keep you on track, to help you solve the puzzles and do what you need to do, and make sure you're not doing anything dumb. This isn't a great private place to go make out. They're going to see if you're breaking things. They're going to hear everything you say. So if you're cursing every third word, you got some poor person on the microphone there that's having to hear it and cringe. Keep it appropriate at all times. In fact, I know a couple people who run them. They actually video record everything. So if you're going to do something illegal, yeah, they're going to have you on videotape doing it too. So be aware of that. You're not being private. So there are 11 hints, tips, and tricks for escape rooms. Do you have some as well that maybe I've missed? Do you have something you would like to add or correct or change? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your feedback. Be sure to hit that like button, share, subscribe if you haven't to the channel. I'm almost at 30,000. I want to hit it, so hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell, too, so you know when I've got a new video. Thank you so much, too, to my financial supporters, my patrons and members. Their support helps to make things possible, like going to visit escape rooms and being able to give you these tips and tricks. If you want to know more about that, be sure to check the description below. There's a lot of information there. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering why I don't have pictures and stuff in the escape rooms, it's because I don't want to give anything away. You got to solve it on your own. So there. Thank you so incredibly much for watching, though. God bless. Maybe you're thinking about... different tech... Well, it's going to be rare that you were going to open a door into another room when you still have stuff finished. It's going to be rare that you're going to open up a lock and go into a new room with still... A general good rule of thumb, if you've got, say, an hour-long room, is if you have gone about 5 minutes... Ouch. Do you have something you love? Their support helps to make things possible. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to know about contact information, fan pages, merchandise, and more, please be sure to check the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to know when I have new ones, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button right up there. And if you want to see another one of my videos, well, I've got a great one for you right here. And a huge thank you to these wonderful people here who support me on Patreon and with YouTube memberships. They get behind the scenes information, special perks, and more. If you'd like to know more about that, well, make sure you check that button right there. Thank you so much.